You're listening to Inside Insight, the podcast that dives into the latest innovations and strategies in manufacturing, distribution, and Dynamics 365 Business Central. Brought to you by InsightWorks, this show features our hosts, Ryan and Emma, as they bring you expert conversations, industry insights, and practical advice to help you stay ahead in this constantly evolving world.
Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. And today we're going to be talking about inventory management.
Yeah, and it's specifically advanced inventory count, which is a software solution for businesses using Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central.
Okay, so Business Central, for anyone who doesn't know, is a popular ERP system.
All right.
Kind of think of it as the
central nervous system of a company's operations.
Right, exactly. And within that, inventory management is obviously a pivotal component.
Critical.
But our sources are pointing out that there are some serious limitations with the standard inventory counting features in Business Central.
Yeah, it's like trying to run a marathon with your shoelaces tied together.
Oh, ouch. I could feel that analogy.
Right.
So where do these limitations really trip businesses up?
Well, one major bottleneck is that with standard Business Central, only one person can update inventory at a time. And this can cause huge delays, especially for larger companies with lots of items to count.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
So advanced inventory count solves this by allowing multi-user access, meaning multiple team members can work simultaneously.
Okay, so it's like...
Yeah, think about how much faster you could finish that marathon if everyone was running freely.
Right. Yeah, like if everyone was working together.
Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense. And I'm guessing this speed boost isn't the only advantage...
No, definitely not.
...that advanced inventory count brings to the table.
And another pain point that a lot of our sources are highlighting is the inflexibility of the standard count sheets.
Okay.
In Business Central.
Yeah.
Imagine going to a library with millions of books, but no card catalog or any way to search. That's essentially what you're dealing with.
Oh, that's awful.
It is. It is. But with advanced inventory count, you get dynamic filtering.
Oh, okay.
This means you can search for specific items based on criteria like location, item category, or even custom fields that you define. So you can zero in on exactly what you need to count. So, for example, let's say you're doing a stock take of just your electronics items stored in warehouse.
Okay.
You can easily filter for that.
Oh, that's handy.
Right.
So no more aimlessly wandering the aisles like a lost librarian.
Yeah.
I like it. But even if you can find what you need actually recording, the count data can be a pain, right?
Absolutely. Manual data entry is notoriously time-consuming and error-prone.
Yeah.
This is where advanced inventory count really shines with its barcode integration. Instead of typing in long item numbers, you can simply scan a barcode to instantly capture the data.
Right.
Think about how much faster checkout is at the grocery store with scanners.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same concept, but for your entire inventory.
That's a huge time saver. And I bet it drastically reduces errors as well.
You're spot on. One of the sources we have actually cites a case study where a company reduced their inventory counting errors by 90% after implementing barcode scanning.
Wow, 90%. That's incredible. That's a powerful testament to the efficiency of this approach.
Right.
But what happens if, despite all these precautions, errors still slip through?
Right.
I'm guessing catching them early is key.
You're absolutely right. With Business Central's standard system, you often don't discover errors until much later, which can cause a major headache.
Yeah, of course.
Advanced inventory count, on the other hand, offers real-time validation.
Okay.
This means the system checks your data as you enter it and flags any potential errors immediately.
So it's like
having a spell checker built into your inventory counting process.
Right. You can correct mistakes on the fly instead of having to go back and fix them later.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that can save businesses a ton of time and hassle.
Right.
But even with the best preventative measures, you'll inevitably need to do some recounts.
Yeah.
It's just the reality of managing a complex inventory.
It is.
So how does advanced inventory count make that process less painful?
Well, it has a really smart feature that automatically generates recount sheets based on predefined thresholds.
Okay.
So, for example, you could set it up so that any item with a count discrepancy of more than 10% automatically gets flagged for recounting.
Okay.
It's like having a personal assistant who prioritizes the most important discrepancies for you.
Yeah, I'm seeing a pattern here.
Yeah.
Advanced inventory count seems to automate a lot of the tedious manual tasks that plague traditional inventory counting.
Right.
So tell me, does this automation magic extend to the final step of posting inventory adjustments?
It absolutely does. One of the biggest complaints about the standard Business Central system is that after you've gone through all the effort of counting and recounting, you still have to manually enter all the adjustment.
Yeah.
It's like running a marathon and then having to crawl across the finish line.
Yeah.
That's a perfect analogy. But with advanced inventory count, you can automate the entire posting process.
Oh, wow.
The system takes all the adjustments you've made during counting and generates the necessary journal entries.
So it's like having a robot accountant who handles all the tedious paperwork for you.
Exactly.
That sounds incredibly efficient. So it seems like advanced inventory count really addresses the key pain points of inventory management in Business Central.
It does.
But, even with the best software, a poorly organized warehouse can still throw a wrench into things.
You're absolutely right. Think of it this way. Even with a super fast sports car, you're not going to win any races if the track is full of potholes.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
Right.
So how can businesses make sure their warehouse is optimized for efficient inventory counting?
Well, our sources don't go into too much detail here, but a good starting point is implementing a clear zoning strategy.
Okay.
This means dividing your warehouse into distinct areas based on factors like product type, frequency of use, or even special storage requirements.
So instead of having everything randomly scattered, you create designated zones for, say, high-value items,
Right.
fast-moving items, or items that need temperature control.
Exactly. This makes it much easier for your team to locate items during inventory counting, saving valuable time and reducing the chance of errors. Imagine trying to find a specific book in a library where everything is just piled up haphazardly. It would be a nightmare.
Yeah. A well-organized library makes finding what you need a breeze, and I imagine clear aisle markings and signage would also be crucial in a warehouse setting.
Absolutely. Think of these as the street signs and traffic signals that keep things moving smoothly in a busy city.
Okay.
Clear signage ensures everyone knows where to go and helps prevent congestion and confusion during inventory counting.
So we've got zoning and signage. What other warehouse optimization tips can you share?
One often overlooked aspect is storage optimization.
Okay.
This involves using the right type of shelving, racking, and containers for your specific inventory.
Right.
You wouldn't store delicate glassware on the same type of heavy-duty racking you use for machinery parts, right?
Right. It's all about choosing the right storage solution for the job.
Exactly. And by optimizing your storage, you not only make inventory counting easier, but also improve space utilization and overall warehouse safety.
Makes sense. So to sum it up, optimizing your warehouse layout is just as crucial as having the right software. It's like having a top-notch chef and a state-of-the-art kitchen. You need both to create a culinary masterpiece.
I couldn't have said it better myself, but let's shift gears for a moment.
Okay.
We've talked a lot about the benefits of efficient inventory management, but what are the consequences of getting it wrong? What happens when businesses don't invest in the tools and strategies we've been discussing?
That's a great question. It's easy to get caught up in the positives, but understanding that potential downsides can be just as motivating.
Exactly. And the truth is, inaccurate inventory can have a ripple effect throughout an entire organization,
Okay.
leading to a whole host of problems. One of the most common and costly issues is stockouts.
Stockouts, you mean not having enough of a product in stock to meet customer demand?
Precisely. And when that happens, you risk losing sales, frustrating customers, and damaging your reputation.
Right.
Imagine a customer eagerly waiting for a product they ordered only to be told it's out of stock.
Yeah.
They're likely to go to a competitor, and you might never get that customer back.
That's a nightmare scenario for any business, especially in today's competitive landscape. But on the flip side, I imagine having too much inventory can also be a problem.
You're exactly right. Overstocking can tie up valuable capital, take up precious warehouse space, and even lead to obsolescence or spoilage.
Right?
It's like buying a whole cart of groceries at the supermarket only to have half of it go bad before you can eat it.
Definitely not a smart use of resources, and I bet there are financial implications as well.
Absolutely. Inaccurate inventory can throw off your financial reporting, leading to inaccurate valuations of your assets.
Okay.
This can mislead investors, make it difficult to secure loans, and even lead to audits and penalties.
Wow, so the stakes are pretty high when it comes to getting inventory, right?
Yeah.
It's not just about operational efficiency, it's about the financial health and reputation of the entire business.
Exactly. And that's why investing in solutions like advanced inventory count, optimizing your warehouse layout, and having well-trained staff is so crucial.
Yeah.
These aren't just nice to haves.
Right.
They're essential for any business that wants to succeed in today's competitive world.
Okay, so we've covered the software, the warehouse, and the consequences of getting it wrong, but there's one more piece of the puzzle we haven't talked about yet. The human element.
Right.
Our sources don't go into much detail on this, but I'm curious, how does employee training factor into all of this?
That's an excellent point. You can have the most sophisticated inventory management system in the world, but if your employees aren't properly trained on how to use it, you're not going to see the full benefits.
Right. It's like having a state-of-the-art race car, but putting someone who's never driven before behind the wheel.
Yeah.
You're not going to get very far, and you might even end up in a ditch.
Exactly. Investing in employee training is just as important as investing in the technology itself.
So what kind of training are we talking about here? What do employees need to know to really maximize the benefits of a system like advanced inventory count?
Well, it will vary depending on the specific software and the complexity of the business, but generally speaking, employees need a solid understanding of how to use the system itself. This includes everything from basic navigation and data entry to more advanced features like generating reports and managing recount thresholds.
Right, so they need to be comfortable with the digital tools. But it's not just about clicking buttons, is it? They also need to understand the underlying principles of good inventory management.
Absolutely. They need to know how to perform accurate counts using the various methods available, how to identify and report discrepancies, and how to follow proper procedures for receiving, storing, and moving inventory. And of course, safety training is paramount. A warehouse can be a hazardous environment if proper procedures aren't followed.
It sounds like a comprehensive training program is essential, but it's not a one-and-done situation, right? I imagine ongoing training is crucial to keep everyone up to date.
You're exactly right. Technology is constantly evolving, new features are added, and best practices are always being refined. So regular training is essential to ensure employees are equipped with the latest knowledge and skills. This could involve online modules, in-person workshops, or even on-the-job mentoring.
It's clear that investing in your team's knowledge is just as important as investing in the right technology.
Absolutely. And when you combine well-trained employees with a powerful software solution like advanced inventory count and an optimized warehouse environment, you create a recipe for success.
We've covered a lot of ground today, from the limitations of standard inventory counting in Business Central to the power of advanced inventory count and the critical role of warehouse organization and employee training. It's been a fascinating deep dive into the world of modern inventory management.
It has, and we've really highlighted how crucial, accurate, and efficient inventory management is for businesses of all sizes. It's not just about keeping track of stuff, it's about optimizing operations, controlling costs, and ultimately driving profitability and customer satisfaction.
So for our listeners who are still struggling with manual processes, outdated systems, or just feeling overwhelmed by the complexities of inventory management, what's the key takeaway message?
I'd say it's this. There are solutions available that can make your life a whole lot easier and your business a whole lot more successful. Don't be afraid to embrace technology, invest in your team's skills, and take a strategic approach to optimizing your entire inventory management process.
Well said. And if you're using Business Central, a solution like advanced inventory count might be just the ticket to streamlining your operations and taking your inventory management to the next level.
Exactly. The tools and strategies are out there. It's just a matter of taking that first stink and committing to continuous improvement.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery. We hope you've gained some valuable insights and are feeling inspired to ditch those metaphorical sticky notes and embrace a more modern approach to inventory management.
Until next time, happy counting.